In Focus is powered in part by Delta Dental of Colorado, improving the oral health of the communities we serve. DeltaDentalCO.com.
Welcome to In Focus with Eden Lane.
Later we visit with Philip Sneed as he prepares to take on the duties of Executive Director of the Arvada Center. But we begin with a major new exhibit, The Art of the State. The Arvada Center just launched another major exhibit. This time I'm meeting Colin to talk about the art of the state. We're in the upper gallery and I see that you have this great graphic and it's also mimicked on your t-shirt and there's a great story behind that. Tell me about that.
Well, this is one of our partnerships with Warren Tech High Schools, which is based in Jefferson County.
Not too far from here, really.
No, actually they have two campuses at Red Rocks and right next to Arvada West High School. And we work with the graphic design instructors, Scott Odendahl and Pete Kunis, to basically it's a little mini competition where their graphic design students or advanced students propose different murals, graphics for the exhibition. And then we, the graphic designer at the Arvada Center, Chuck McCoy, and myself, choose which piece is, I guess, the winner. And the winner of this is Nick Vella, a 17-year-old. So basically, Nick came up with the mural, the logos, an email icon, the logo for the book catalog.
And the stickers.
Stickers. And during the exhibition, the opening, we sold t-shirts and bumper stickers. And
you even had a chance to recognize him on opening night.
Yeah, actually the Arts Council gave a honorable mention to a few artists and they actually chose Nick.
Oh.
Even though he's not an artist in the exhibition, they saw that how great his art was and they gave him a nice little honorable mention award.
I think that's a perfect way to have Arvada Center's tentacles reach out, not just to the community at large, but through the educational system.
Oh yeah, and you know, every year we do our Jefferson County High School exhibition, so it's really just a win-win-win, and this partnership will continue this summer. They're actually that's their final for the year is creating the murals and icons for our summer exhibition. So
well, his graphic really captures the energy of this huge space. So let's go sit in the theater gallery and talk about this wonderful project you put together.
Sounds great. Can't wait. Thank you.
I'm so thrilled that we're getting to come and talk to you about this exciting exhibit, Art of the State. So how did you even begin this amazingly encompassing, I mean, this is a huge project, so how did you begin this?
It is very large, and thank you for coming. Actually, in 2008, I'm an artist myself, and I applied to a Colorado open show at Foothills Art Center, and I didn't get in. But I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the opening, and I was blown away with the energy, talent, quality, diversity of that show, which was very similar in theme, just Colorado art. And I decided, let's do this the Arvada Center way. We have 10,000 square feet of exhibition space. We have just this beautiful facility. Let's do it right, try to make it bigger, better, and I think we accomplished that. So
so the idea was from 2008?
Well, it was all, I've been wanting to do it for such a long time, and just this time frame just worked out great. So
it also happens to occur when you've redone the main gallery space.
Oh yeah, so it was kind of this like grand finale, grand opening, and we redid the flooring in the main floor gallery.
It looks beautiful, but why?
Why? Okay. We've had that carpet in that space since 1992, and the facility manager came and says, time to replace the carpet. I was like, we should rip it out. And there are many reasons for that. Actually, aesthetically as a gallery, it really helps display the work. And actually, as a gallery, a lot of times
How does it help display the work? What impact does that have?
It focus is it's more neutral. It just kind of focuses more on the art rather than the space that you're in. Plus, it just makes the space a little more contemporary. You know, here at the Arvada Center, we always try to just keep up to date, and it really helped just focus your attention to the art rather than the space. But as you know, when you walk in a gallery, the space sometimes really enhances the art, so they kind of speak to each other really well. And also, a lot of times with artists, they want to do installations, bring in sand or dirt or some sort of crazy medium. And this, we can now do that rather than saying, I'm sorry, we have carpet.
So there are aesthetic reasons and very practical reasons for switching from carpet to this.
And then right after I did this, actually, I had an artist who was like, oh, right, I could bring in sand. So, and then also just maintenance reasons. It's easier to maintain. As you know, art galleries, art openings, a lot of red wine. A lot of spills. So
red wine at an art opening.
Yeah, who would have thought? Who would have thought? So, but no, we're really excited to have it, and everyone seems really excited to just have that as part of the Arvada Center.
It does sort of elevate the feeling of the space in a way.
I think that was kind of part of the reason we did it as well. Is you know, we're proud of the Arvada Center, but you know, we wanted that urban kind of feel. There have been a lot of museums that have gone to that look, and we actually used a company that had, you know, created the Clifford Still, the CU Art Museum's floor, and we were really excited about that aspect. So.
And the caliber of artists that you're able to draw certainly merits the same treatment that they get at the Clifford Still and other major museums in town.
Oh yeah, no, I would hope, you know, I would hope that when they think of the Arvada Center, they think of a prestigious art center that has this great space and support of the community. So.
And here with this exhibit, again, you're reaching across the entire state to draw artists to you.
Yeah, well, in October, we had the call for entry out, and Dean Sobel, the director of the Clifford Still, graciously said, of course I'll be a guest juror. And we juried over 1,635 submitted pieces by 588 artists. And this was the first time that we did this, so we were quite overwhelmed. But what you see in this exhibition is we have 191 pieces by 160 artists, and all media, size, scope, concept. So we were really excited, and it was a large show to wrap your head around. Just as a designer, how do you lay it out, and then as an artist, do these pieces speak to each other, and how do they speak to each other?
You always do a wonderful job of selecting sort of how they speak to each other for the main gallery, and then here in the theater gallery and the upstairs gallery. But sometimes that they're separated in those spaces by theme, but it seems like the show is sort of one show wandering this time.
Well, and that was the goal. This is the first time that we've used all three spaces as one exhibition. A lot of times we have themes that each are related, but they're still separate.
Like faces, spaces, and places.
Exactly. That was a fun show. I thought that was a big show, and then we did this. So. But no, here in the theater gallery, for example, we chose more intimate work, more traditional and representational, and then as you move into the upper, it becomes more stylized, larger, and then if you move in the main floor gallery, it's, you know, more conceptual and much larger abstract work. So.
What was the biggest surprise when you were jurying the 1,600 and...
Well, first the quantity. That was it, pretty much. I had to tell Dean. I was like, oh my gosh, you signed
like,
up
how
for
do you adjudicate that many pieces?
And then the second was just the quality, you know. I mean, any jury process, obviously, you know, we have our subjective nature, but we were pretty blown away with just the quality across the boards in all styles and concepts.
They've done a really great job of letting the community know about this huge endeavor, because your opening night was, I think that was probably the largest crowd you've had for a gallery opening.
Oh yeah, we don't know the numbers, but I mean, I'm still having people like, I didn't see you, and I was like, I didn't see you either, you know. So we were really excited about that, and actually, I told Philip Sneed, our executive director, that, you know, this is definitely the largest. So it was really exciting.
So we know what piece is the best in show, or whatever phrase you're using. We know it's that beautiful statement piece in the upper gallery.
Yeah, it's by Scarlett Canstano. It's called Quiet Mind, and Dean and I walked around the space and gave a best of show, second and third place awards, and then we have a lot of honorable mentions. And we chose that piece. It's a very powerful piece. It's made of ceramic.
That's ceramic?
It's ceramic, and it was fired in one piece. So it's not, a lot of times ceramic that large are made.
Have to be assembled.
Exactly, because the kilns are too small, but she figured out a way. I think she has a custom large kiln in her studio and made it work, and we were very, very happy to have this in the space. And
I can't believe that's ceramic.
Yeah, yeah. So it weighs about 400 pounds, and we had to bring it in with obviously a lot of equipment and people to get it right.
So what were the second and third place mentions?
Second place was Robert Adams Gray. He's a painter based in Glenwood Springs. And third place was Derek Velasquez, who's a professor, I'm pretty sure at Metro, who did a kind of this painting that's not a painting. It's hanging vinyl pieces that are on the wall. So we try to spread it out also of, the quality. It was very hard to choose, though.
And you have artisan jewelry, you have textiles, you have oils, you have photography. This is a wide-ranging.
Yeah, and I was actually just, the month of photography is coming up. I don't know if you know, it's in March, and I had a photographer ask me, how many photographers? And I was like, I don't know. And I counted them up. We have 22 photographers just in this show. And again, from traditional to something that's more photoshopped or, more in the style.
Some digital manipulation of the photography.
Exactly. And then there we have this painting over here by Charles Lehman that I call it a painting because I think it's a painting, but it's a photograph. But the way he photographed it, it's very painterly. So it's very interesting.
And as is often the case here at the galleries, many of these pieces, if not all of them, are available.
Actually, all of them are available. That was part of the submission guidelines, as we asked for pieces that are for sale, created the last 2 years. And actually, so we have a lot of large pieces, but the pieces had to be at least under 8 feet or a sculpture under 12 feet in any one direction. So that helps us kind of get as many pieces as we can and still have significant, 8-foot pieces. Still pretty big.
You said there were a lot of honorable mentions, and I have to say that of all of the pieces that are here, with such a large pool that you had to adjudicate to be included, calling it the art of the state means that all of these artists really did get honorable mention to be included in this.
Exactly, and I think they felt that way. And for the artists that unfortunately didn't get in, all I gotta say is we'll be doing this again in 3 years, and the opportunity will be here. And
you're not going to do this annually?
Oh no, I'm a young guy, but that would I think my staff would look at me. And, no, actually, I think we were discussing that. We think every 3 years the state of the arts will be changing enough that it'll be a fresh new exhibition each time rather than annually. So
it definitely is a fresh exhibition. I love it. I mean, this is the kind of thing that sometimes you wander the galleries here because you're coming to the Arvada Center for something else, but often you have exhibitions that are a reason to come, and this is definitely one of them.
Well, the way I look at, thank you, I look at the Arvada Center as we got our performing arts, we have our education, and we have our galleries. They're all reasons that you would want to come visit, and then maybe you'll buy a theater ticket, and maybe you'll sign up for a ceramics class. So it really works out. And I just want to mention that also, out of all those artists, we have artists from across the state, not just the Denver metro area. Like I mentioned, Glenwood, Steamboat, Grand Junction, Durango. I even have La Vida. That was pretty. Tabernash. Do you know where Tabernash is? I'm
embarrassed to say
I don't know, but Tabernash, Colorado. So we're really excited because we really felt like we did reach out to the entire state.
Well, it's a thrilling exhibition, and I'm so glad that we're getting a chance to bring our viewers a little taste. They have to come and see it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we meet the new Executive Director of the Arvada Center. After 6.5 years as the producing artistic director at the Colorado Shakespeare Festival, Philip Sneed now takes the helm at the Arvada Center. Well, this Saturday we're having a chance to come through the Arvada Center to look at the gallery space, and we're getting a chance to visit you as you have just accepted the position of the Executive Director here at the Arvada Center before you even start.
Yes.
So it's your very first chance to spend time in what will be your new office, which is why it's so bare right now. Thank you for coming in on Saturday before you begin.
You're very welcome.
So how did this even happen? How did you find out about the opening and become interested in moving from the Colorado Shakespeare Festival to the Arvada Center?
Well, I was a guest director here a couple of years ago, directed The Lion in Winter in the Black Box Theater. And then last year, the Colorado Shakespeare Festival and the Arvada Center co-produced a production of Twelfth Night, which I directed, that opened here and then moved to Boulder last summer. And I was around the building a lot, and of course I was working with the former executive director. I realized there was an opening, and I have always liked being in this building. I was actually a young actor here in the late 70s and early 80s. I earned my first paycheck as a professional actor as a 17-year-old here in 1976, appearing in the second play they ever did. It also got me my first Denver Post review, in which I was called a distracting element.
A distracting element.
A distracting element. So after working here in the late 70s and early 80s, and then leaving for California and then coming back to run the Shakespeare Festival, I had a chance to come and visit the building again. I was amazed at how it had expanded, and both in size and in programming. And as I was working in the building the last couple of years on those two productions, I realized how much I liked this facility and how much I liked the synthesis when all of the arts come together. And as much as I love theater, it's my first love, and it's what the background I come from, I love being around the visual art and the music and the dance. So at this point in my career and this point in my life, it's a great and exciting move for me to be able to work across all arts disciplines.
It's just days that you're winding down at the Colorado Shakespeare Festival.
Yes.
What's going through your mind? Well, how are you reflecting on your time there?
Well, it's very emotional, of course, because when I came into that job, like the Arvada Center, that was an organization that I had worked at as a young actor.
I remember the first time we met you, you were able to tell us about that.
I first worked here at the Arvada Center in 1976. I first worked at Shakespeare in 1978. So that was a homecoming back to a place I loved, and I had so many goals for that festival, and I was able to achieve a lot of it in the nearly 7 years I was there. But of course, there's always more you want to do. There's always, oh, I wished I had gotten to that project, or I wished I had done that project a little better, or you know, what else could be done. So it is very emotional, and I love that organization, and it wasn't an easy decision to move. But it is the right step for myself and my family at this time in our lives. And because the Arvada Center Theater hires many of the same artists that Shakespeare does, I know I'm going to continue to see my colleagues.
When you're thinking about that, because it is so emotional, what are some of the highlights that you've been thinking of that, you know, these are the benchmarks that I'm the most proud of, or that just stand out to you for a personal reason?
Well, I really loved the 2011 production of Romeo and Juliet that we did. I was very proud of that production. And then in the non-Shakespeare realm, we did the first musical we had ever done in 2008. Woody Guthrie's American Song is a piece that's dear to my heart. Our audiences loved it. It was one of the best-selling indoor shows we've ever done. And I'm very proud of things like the Women of Will that we did last summer, pre-Broadway, pre-off-Broadway. It's opening in New York this weekend. So
that was an amazing extension of the work of the Colorado Shakespeare Festival.
Absolutely.
To be able to do that.
And to get this world-renowned Shakespearean director and writer and actor here for the whole summer, not only to do Women of Will, but to direct Richard III, but to get this project before it got to New York. And our name will be with it in New York. So that was exciting. And then also the Russian exchange project that we did in 2011.
The Inspector General.
The Inspector General, bringing major Russian artists here to work on a Russian classic alongside our artists. I'm very, very proud of that.
While you were at the Colorado Shakespeare Festival, we saw the idea of what the Shakespeare Festival, the programming, the content, change. Tell me about that.
Well, when I came in, it seemed to me that the Colorado Shakespeare was behind many of our peers in the field in terms of exploring additional kinds of programming, not just Shakespeare, but other kinds of classics, and maybe occasionally new plays as well. So it seemed like it was a good time to try to catch up with our peers, if you will, and start seeing what kind of an audience there was for those other plays. And people have responded well. It's grown slowly, but it is growing, and people, one of the productions people most talk about is the production we did of To Kill a Mockingbird in the outdoor stage. So I think that's great if people can be talking about the Shakespeare Festival and the wonderful production like Romeo and Juliet, which was well loved, but also say they do other things too, and there was this really great production by someone else.
It's also a chance to see classically trained actors tackle contemporary or somewhat contemporary material,
Yes.
to see how that impacts the material.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that behind you, is there a sense of wanting to try to stretch the Arvada Center in those ways, or is that beyond the scope of what you would be doing as the new executive director?
Well, the Arvada Center has a very, very good theater program already, and a terrific artistic director, Rod Lansbury, and
with whom you've already worked.
With whom I've already worked, and I would be foolish to try to mess with what he does so well. My job, I think, is to be more externally focused and look at other partnerships in the community, look at ways in which we can increase support, raise more money for the center. I will certainly have ideas about programming and programming initiatives, but I'll be taking...
Or how to pay for them.
Or how to pay, mostly how to pay for them. I'll be taking a big picture look rather than presuming to pick individual plays or directors or designers. Rod does that extremely well. In terms of all of the art forms, I think what my job is to talk to people and say, what do we do well, what don't we do well, what more do we want to do, and how can I support that?
But that doesn't give you the same sort of artistic outlet that you had at the Colorado Shakespeare Festival.
No, it's true. I won't be a practicing artist on a day-to-day basis. I won't have my hands in it in the same way. But that's actually okay. I mean, I'm a little worried about how I will feel about that as time goes on, but I'm not too concerned about it because I'm so excited about being able to have an impact on the larger picture of an art center, and about the fact that I am going to be around art every day and on a year-round basis. So what I get to do is something that I think I do very well, which is to be a spokesperson for the arts and to be an advocate for the arts. And this place is so well known and so loved that I think I have a different mission now at this point in my life, which is to advance the art in bigger ways out in the community, rather than making those day-to-day decisions, which this staff does so well.
What is it you want us to know about you as the new face of the Arvada Center?
Well, I think it is important that I'm an artist, and I come from a background as a working artist who made my living in the arts, and then slowly went into managing and administering arts organizations, and have reached this point where I think I can speak with authority about the arts, certainly about theater. But I'm also, I also play 3 musical instruments and have been in a variety of musical groups. My wife is a visual artist as a designer, so she's certainly given me a schooling over the 25 years we've been together in visual arts. And there's no question that I have a lot more to learn about the other art forms besides theater. But I think it is important that someone who runs an arts organization have an arts background. So I'm hoping that I can speak with authority about the arts because I have that in my background.
What's the most important lesson that you're able to bring from your time at the Colorado Shakespeare Festival to the Arvada Center?
I think because I've been in the area now for a number of years since I came back, I think I've formed lots of relationships and partnerships in the area. I think as someone, their decision to hire someone locally, I think, for this position was based in part on the fact that someone who's already in the area knows the market and already has relationships, and not just with other theaters, because we've been working with other kinds of arts organizations as well, art museums, the Boulder Philharmonic, so the Colorado Symphony for that matter. So I have these relationships which I think will be helpful as we go forward.
And you're getting started in plenty of time so that by the time summer comes along, you should be able to relax and enjoy the summer season at the amphitheater, yes?
Yes, absolutely. I look forward to it.
I can't help but wonder, because you began your first acting job, your first professional paycheck as an actor was here at the Arvada Center, and now you're going to be leading this organization.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, it's very personal for me, and it means a lot. And in a sense, I did that at the Shakespeare Festival too, because I started there as a young actor, and my mother has often said to me, when you were a young actor working there, did you ever dream you'd be running the place? And I said, no, I didn't. And I suppose she'll ask me that about this place too. I feel like I understood from the beginning that this place could be a home for artists, a place where artists in all disciplines felt welcome. And while choices have to be made, not every artist gets hung on the walls, not every actor gets on the stage. It is a place that showcases the work of a lot of different artists across a lot of different disciplines, as well as young and emerging artists, as well as student artists in those classes, some of whom will go on in their lives to become practicing artists and will have an impact on the art world.
And may eventually become executive directors.
And may eventually become, yes. Well, I'm an example of that because I'm that person who, as a high school kid, got turned on to the arts because, in large part, because there was this place called the Arvada Center, where I could see myself in the future as a practicing artist.
That just really sort of connects with me. It's the kind of thing that I'm sure everyone responded to when you were asking to be considered for this position. The exhibition that's in all of the galleries right now is called The Art of the State. So as you move from one major arts organization in Colorado to another major arts organization here, what's your take on what's the current state of the art here in Colorado?
You know, I think it's extraordinary. I spent so many years in California, and of course California has so many more resources and just a larger concentration of artists. But when I came to Colorado, I was so impressed with how the theater community had grown, how the visual arts community had grown, and the fact that the Arvada Center has increased in size so much over the years since it opened in 1976, I think is testament to the power of the arts and the way arts are valued in Colorado. And the fact that a city the size of Arvada would make this kind of an investment in the arts over so many decades is just extraordinary. And I think artists, when they see an exhibition like this and realize that there's a place for them in this state, they're more likely to stay here rather than feel, I've got to go to New York, I've got to go to Chicago, I've got to go to San Francisco. I think they feel like there's a community here and they can be a part of it.
Well, I know that there's a community here, and I know the Arvada Center has fully integrated all of us in one place, and I look forward to seeing what you're able to bring to this new position. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being our first video interview that you're doing. I can't wait to see what you do.
Thank you very much.
That's all for this edition. Remember to join us on Facebook and Twitter. With all that Colorado has to offer, we're here to help you keep it in focus. Thanks for watching. Good night.